Welcome back to our preview of the Leopardstown Christmas Racing Festival. We were just talking about the Paddy Power Dial-A-Bet Chase. Donn, Paul Nicholls is set to send over Edgardo Sol for the race, and he was a long way behind Q-Card in the Haldon Gold Cup at Exeter.
He was, yeah, Dennis, but Q-Card is very good. Like, he's second favourite for the King George over a trip that he hasn't tried yet, so it tells you how good he is over that type of 2 miles 1.5 furlongs. And Edgardo Sol, he was a good winner at Aintree last season. Big Zeb is in there, and he's a big price.
Won 3 of the last 4.
He's won 3 of the last 4, and he's a 12-1 shot. That's okay. He's 11. He's almost 12, but he didn't look that slow against Fleming Star in the Fortrea Chase last time, and he loves Leopardstown and soft ground. He's just, it'd be fantastic.
He
to
might
see
be
him
a bit of each way value for the race
as an 11-year-old. Yeah.
Dave, also on the Wednesday with the Grade 1 Paddy Power Future Champions Novice Hurdle, and there are some exceptional animals set to clash in this race also.
Yeah, well, Jesse's horse looks the one to beat. He was good in the Royal Bond, and he's very unexposed. He's only a 4-year-old. I think he's won around 5 times in his life. Jesky, yeah, and he sets the bar. He sets the bar, and I would have thought, assuming again the Royal Bond didn't take too much out of him, I'd say he's the one to beat.
Davy, you've had the unenviable task of having to pick between a lot of good horses to ride in races, such as the strength and depth of the Gigginstown novices. But this race as well, who's your likely mount in it, and how do you see the race going?
I suppose really Noel's horse Ali Cascade, he'll tell you about him himself. I have a big opinion of Bright New Dawn, the way he jumped the last day, but it all depends about what Willie does with Unna 2 now, because he's got a strong hand in the race himself.
He's a horse you have a high regard for, Davy, Unna 2.
I have, yeah. I think he's a bit special. I think this won't be as easy maybe for Jetski. I don't think it's as straightforward as what you make it out to be. I think there's some very high class horses in it. I'd say Champagne Fever, still I'd say getting another go at Jetski could turn that around. I have a huge respect for Unna 2 and Bright New Dawn, so I suppose at the moment I'll be tossing a coin between the two of them.
Dave, the Paddy Power Chase on the 27th, now that's one of the richest handicap chases in Europe, and as always this provides a really difficult puzzle for punters to solve. How do you is there anything that stands out at a big price for you there this time round?
I'm going to be predictable. I'm going to narrow it down to 2, possibly Willie's horse Away We Go if he turns up, and Glam Jerry. I thought Glam Jerry has been mapped out for the race. He won a flat race at Navan over 2 miles over a trip that's probably too short for him, and he needed the run that day, and he turned up in the what used to be the Greatwood Hurdle in Cheltenham and finished 5th, staying on very well, again over a trip too short. He won a handicap chase, mind you, a very ordinary handicap chase at this venue last year, and I'd say this has been his derby for a long time.
Okay, so Away We Go and Glam Jerry.
Glam Jerry, I'd say definitely around 10-1. I think he won't be out of the first 3 or 4.
Donn, is there anything you could stick up at a big price for us?
It's easy. Glam Jerry, I was wondering why he was going over to run in that Racing Post hurdle, the old Greatwood, and this is probably the reason why. This is this is his trip, his track. Actually, he'd want to jump a lot better than he did when he won here last year. I mean, he won really impressively, but
he won very easily last time.
He kicked a few of them out of the ground down the back straight, so he'll have to jump a bit better. But he's feasibly handicapped. His run in the Burn Group Plate at the Cheltenham Festival last March was really eye-catching. He stayed on from a long way back to finish 3rd. But no, there are a few others. Two of JP's actually in great form. I thought he ran very well. Francis Flood's horse last time at Punchestown, just staying on well behind Lenquest. He's bang on 10 stone there. He needs a few to come out to get into the race, but he needs about 10 or 11 to come out. He'd probably get that if he's going to run. And the other one, Nicky Henderson, has entered Prince of Pirates, who's very interesting. He ran over 2.5 miles the last time behind Bless the Wings at Newbury, and he just shaped like a horse who'd be better over further. He jumped a wee bit stickily, but that probably the 2.5 mile pace didn't help him. He's only 7. He's only running 4 chases, so it might be a bit much for him. But he's also got that potential for progression. He's about a 16-1 shot. So I think keep an eye on what represents JP McManus in this, because he's got a strong hand.
Okay, thanks very much, Donn. Noel, you won the race last year with the Well Fancy Cross Appeal. I think he was the first horse under 10-1 to win it for quite a while. He's obviously going to fly the flag for you again, and what do you think his chances are?
I think they've improved a bit in the last week or so. He's been very disappointing in his couple of runs there in the back end. We were sort of ran a good race in the Galway Plate, and then disappointed us in the Kerry or the Munster National and the Tri-Town, but or his next run after that, and I gave him a break for a while, and I didn't really think, to be honest with you, he was going to come back in time, but he actually sparked very well the other morning when he worked, and he seems to be firing again and seems to be in good shape. If he jumps as well as he jumped in it last year, it's going to throw him in with a chance, but it's one of those races where, you know, I like the way Dave looked at it. He said, I'm going to take 2, because I think at this stage, when you see what's in it, you could take 10 and you mightn't get the winner, because there are plenty of horses in it with chances.
Davy, this is a race I think you've yet to win. Is that right? You've won most contests, but I'm sure you'd like to add this to your CV. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're spot on. And I'd say probably, from my point of view, it's a bit difficult to win the likes of this when we had the horse that won the Tri-Town and he just got penalised too heavily for winning that. So, you know, in another year maybe you think he'd get in to the likes of this race, maybe a bit better treated, but obviously that didn't happen. And then I have to rely on the likes of Tarawat and Start Me Up, who probably just aren't good enough. You know, they're well exposed horses. A lot of the Jigginstown horses are, you know, we'd rather be taking on the grade 1s than the big handicaps, and that's just the way Michael likes to do things. But as regards the race itself, I'm going to take 2 as well, and a horse there, Colbert Station, who ran a lovely race last year, and his last run was a lovely run also, and a filly, Shop DJ. She's from the same pedigree as First Lieutenant, and her form last year will be rock solid. She gets in there off a lovely weight, and she's one I'd like to be keeping on the right side of.
Okay, well that's great. We've managed to narrow it down to a potential 10 winners of the race. Ciaran, we've been speaking about the 4-legged talent. There's also great prizes for the 2-legged talent as well. There's great prizes in the fashion stakes for both the ladies and, indeed, not to be left out, the men over the course of the festival.
Indeed, and I should say in advance of the festival, I'm particularly taken by the fashion and style exhibited by my colleagues in the studio. Noel looks
They're all well dressed for radio, aren't they?
Noel looks particularly fetching there in a yellow jumper number. Davy, on the other hand, as illustrated in the recent Jump Eyes TV programme, is inclined to wear very little.
Thankfully he's fully clothed in the studio.
Yes, on Lexus Chase Day on the 28th, winter fashion will certainly be exhibited, and in association with Irish Tatler and Mount Juliet Estate, we have a fantastic fashion prizes judged this year by 2 young and up-and-coming Irish fashion stars, Heidi Higgins and Mark T. Burke.
Okay, some nice prizes there. Just a quick word on the Istabrack Festival Hurdle. That's the highlight on the Saturday. That's the final day of the festival. And Donn, Hurricane Fly set to draw big crowds once again.
Yeah, sure. He sets the standard. He's a standing dish now at this stage. He won the race 2 years ago, and he's top class, previous champion hurdle winner. So he's going to take a huge amount of beating. I think Unaccompanied's going to run here. I think Dermot said she's going to take her chance after winning the race last year. So it's a hell of a race. You've got all the top 2 mile hurdlers there. Monksland's interesting of Knowles. I think he's a progressive horse who I thought he ran a cracker the last day. He outperformed his rating by a fair way, and he'll probably improve again. But no, it's a very interesting race. But I think Hurricane Fly is probably going to be hard to beat.
You must be delighted with Monksland in the Hatton's Grace, Noel.
Yes, he ran a good race. He stayed on. We're more inclined now, even though he's left in that race, to run him in the 3 mile race, to go that direction rather than go. He was staying on very well the last day, and we thought that we'd try 3 miles and see how we get on. And so I think it's more likely he'll run in the Woody's race, the 3 mile race the day before, and rather than the 2 mile race.
Okay, well the 2 miler, Davy, it looks a cracking contest. Noel says Monksland mightn't run in it, but Hurricane Fly, obviously the one they all have to beat. But as Donn said, Unaccompanied won it last year, so he certainly will have plenty of opposition. Hurricane Fly.
He will, yeah. I'm going to sit up on Unaccompanied. I rode a work the other day in Fairyhouse, and we were happy with her. And Countrywide Flame, I suppose, look, you were very impressed with him the last day in Newcastle. I actually owned him at one stage of his life, and he's made the progression to the top level over hurdles now, so really it is a very competitive race, and if there is any chinks in Hurricane Fly's armour, they could be well exposed in this race.
OK, thanks very much, Davy. So that's our look ahead to the Leopardstown Christmas Racing Festival that takes place from Wednesday the 26th to Saturday the 29th of December. And tickets can be purchased in advance online at a discount.
Yes, indeed, Dennis. If people come to leopardstown.com, you can purchase tickets for only €20. World-class racing. It's the Christmas festival at Leopardstown. So get out, come along and have a great time.
Yeah, it's well worth it. It's a great day out. My thanks indeed to Noel, to Davy, to Ciaran, Donn and Dave. And we look forward to seeing you over the 4 days of the festival. And in the meantime, have a very happy Christmas.